ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. Hello everyone. In this session, we'll discuss about variables, methods, classes, and objects. So here we have we'll cover these topics: fundamentals of classes. In this, we have data field declaration, method field declaration, and in this entire video, we class is in red color, will be in red color, data and method will be in blue color, and declaring objects, object is also is in red color, and accessing variables and methods or creating objects of a class. So first one is fundamentals of a class. A class can be defined as an entity in which data and functions are put together. Yes. So what is this? This is the definition of class, right? Data and functions are put together. So first, let me take an example. Go to File, New, Java project, Math one. Okay, the project name is Math one. M is in uppercase. Click on Finish. So now the project is created, Math one, and right click, New, Class. So class name is math1 again. So same as project name. Class name is should be same as project name. And select this checkbox, public static void main, and click on finish. Yes. And here we have class math1. Okay. In this math1, okay, I'll just outside this math1 class. We have this is the main class now. Math1 is a main class, right? It's a main class. Main class because it contains it contains main method, right? It contains main method, so that's a main class. Next, here we have I'll create a method. I'll create a class called sum. Okay, sum. It's a sum addition. Okay, add, better I'll take add. I'll create a class called add. Okay, in this, so in this class, okay, sorry, it's a method, right? It's a class, right? Okay, add. Okay, so add is a class now. Add is a class. First letter of class name should be uppercase. So A is in uppercase here, right? And in this, I'll take two variable int num1. Num1 is a variable. I'll store 10 in num1 variable, and I'll take one more variable int. Okay, int num2, and you had to please make sure you'll be giving meaningful name for variables. Okay, and then I'll now these are the data now, right? 10 and 20 are the data. Yes, which are stored in num1 and num2 respectively. Now I'll take a function now, void. Yes, uh, void sum. Okay, sum. Yes, and in this, so now sum is a method now. Sum is a method. That is why we have used bracket parenthesis here. Yes, and in this, I'll declare one more variable in result sum. Okay, result sum is equal to num1 plus num2. Yes, num1 plus num2. Yes. So now num1 is declared and defined, and num2 is declared and defined, correct? And these two variables are used, and result sum is declared. Okay, it is declared as integer again. Now I have to print it, right? How do you print? Just type sysout and press control space. Okay, system.out.println. So println method is to print the final result on the window. So final sum is final. Okay, in double quotes, final sum is space plus it's a concatenation operator, and result sum. Okay, it's a this is the variable. Now I'm just trying to print it, right? So now here so num1 and num2 are the variables declared as okay, num1 and num2 are declared and defined here, and it is, and here this is what function, this is method. So we call this as method definition. Method definition, because we have defined it, right? We have defined some here, so this is method definition. And this is called as instance variable. Why do we call it as instance variable? I'll tell you. Instance variable. Yes, and this is also num1 is, this is also instance variable, and num2 is also instance variable. Yes, and why do we call it as instance variable? Now we have to call this now. Yes, had to call this. Now execution always starts from main method. In main method we have not called the sum class, right? The sum method. So how to call this sum method now? So we need to create the object of this class. So class is what? Add. So how to create this object now? Add, class name is what? add, yes, class name is add. So class name space obj object name, it's a user defined name, you can give any name. Obj object for add, right? Obj add. Okay, I'll give obj add. And then so next, new keyword. New keyword is used to, new operator is used to allocate memory. Okay, it's used to allocate memory. Okay, and then for the data, because we'll be using data, right? So whatever, so we had to use new keyword. And then class name add. This is how we create the object. So this is how this is what creating the object of a class. Creating the object of class add. Okay, so this is called as means what, instance of a class. Okay, so obj add is what, instance of class add. Now using this object, we can access the member of obj add dot, yes. So what are the members now? Sum. I need to access sum now, sum function. You can access this sum method now, yes, sum. So now I can easily call this. So why am I creating the object now? Why is it required now? Because these are non-static members of class add. Add is a class, okay, and what are the members of this class add? Num1, num2, and sum. These are the members of class add. So in order to access, and these are non-static members, okay, non-static variables and non-static method. Okay, so we call it as, in general we call it as member. Okay, so add so what are the members of class A? Members of class add, are yes, what are the members? Num1, num2, and sum. Yes, these are the members of class add. Okay, and then to access these members, okay, to access these members we had to create the object. How to create the object? Class name space object name is equal to new space class name again, and use parenthesis and semicolon, right? And so this is using this object obj add. This is the object name obj add dot operator. Use dot operator to access non-static method sum. Non-static method is what? It is a member of, that is method of which class? Add class. Yes. So this is how we create the object, as well as this is what data now. This is data and this is method. Yes. So now I will read this definition again. A class, that is add class. Okay, class can be defined as an entity in which data, what is the data, 10 and 20, and functions, that is sum, are put together. So now these two are put together. Yes. So we obviously data hiding is possible, because whatever the variables we have used here, okay, cannot be accessed outside the class. Okay, these variables cannot be accessed outside the class. For example, if I say class uh, add, okay, if I say class subtract, okay, so I'm creating one more variable now, sub, okay, and in this I cannot access void uh, sub, void see, for example subtraction, right? um, Difference. Okay, I'll say difference, and then this is the method now. Yes, and in this difference method I'll try to access now. I'll try to access num1 and num2. We'll see, is it possible. Result sub is equal to num1 plus num2. We'll see now. Is it possible to access this? So num1 and num2, here it is showing error. What is that error? We'll see now. Num1 num2, create local variable num1, because here data hiding is achieved. Means what? Num1 and num2 are the variables that can be accessed only inside class add. It cannot be accessible outside the class. Okay, if you want to access it, you have to create the object of this class, then only you can access the members of this class. Now how to access these num1 and num2 inside this? We have to use inheritance now. Okay, so I cannot access it inside this class, but we can using inheritance we can access it. So what is that inheritance? Just give space here and type extends keyword, use this extends keyword, okay, and then add. Okay, so now means what? Now you see, now it is not showing any error now. Yes, okay, I will just try to print this now. We'll try to print, copy, and I'll paste it here. And I'll change the name to from result sum to result what sub. Okay, subtraction, right? So so this is the result now, right? So now I had to call this function. How to call this now? Now I had to create the object of which class? Subclass. Yes, how to create the object of subclass now? So uh, we create the object of subclass now. So sub space object obj sub is equal to new. Yes, and again sub. Yes, and semicolon. Now object of subclass is created. Obj sub dot. Yes, sub dot. What is that name? Result sub. That is what is the method name? Difference. So difference. Dot operator and difference diff. So now we'll execute this now. So obj sub dot difference means what? We are accessing difference method, diff method of which class? Diff method is what? It's a member of which class? Subclass. Okay, so I'll execute this now. So the first one is final sum is 30. Again final sum is 30. Okay, why? Because final difference is okay, because num1 have just copied and pasted here, that is why num1 minus num2. Okay, num1 minus num2 will run this now. So final sum is 30 and final difference is minus 10, that is 10 minus 20 is what? Minus 10. So that is the result. Yes, but what is the use of extends now? Why do we use extends? It's a when we use this, it means what? Inheritance topic. Okay, it's however I'll cover this in inheritance topic. Okay, inheritance. So this is using inheritance we can means what? We can access the member. To access the member of one class inside another class, okay, we use inheritance. Yes, so because we are accessing num1 and num2 here, right? Num1 and num2 variable inside subclass. So how to access these num1 and num2 inside subclass? If I remove this extends add, again I'll get error now. See, num1 and num2 I cannot access using this. If I use extends add, so that error will not be seen. Yes, so after this now then what is then what else can be done using inheritance? So here we have to access member method of some what is that? Add class. To access method sum. Okay, to access method sum of which class? Add class. We have created the object of add class. To access the method difference diff of which class? Subclass. We have created the object of subclass. But if when we use this extends or inheritance topic, okay, then what will happen? If we create the object of subclass, so here what I will do, I'll just create the object of subclass. I'll just remove everything now. I'll just remove everything. Okay, so now execution always starts from main method. Now what? Nothing is there in main method. Now I had to access sum method and difference method. Okay, so I'll just create the method. What is that? Object of subclass. Now how to create? Now sub is equal to okay, sub is equal, okay, first subspace object obj sub is equal to new. Okay, and then sub semicolon, done. Now obj sub obj sub is equal to, okay, okay, obj sub dot so what is the method? I'll access some method. Okay, I'll access some method add. Okay, and using this obj sub, okay, obj sub I'll access diff method, difference method, right? Diff method. So now you can see this now. Here I'm trying to access which method? Add method. Sorry, not add method. It's a sum method. Method name is sum. Okay. So sum method and difference method. But this sum method belongs to which class? Add class. But so to access this sum method, we have to create the object of which class? Add class. But using, since we have used inheritance, that is extends keyword, right? We have used extends keyword. Yes, and add, this is the super class. This is what super class, this is a super class, and sub is the subtract is the subclass. Okay, so if we, when we use inheritance topic, then by creating the object of subclass, or means what, it's a child class, by creating the object of child class. Okay, sub, here I'll write it, I'll write here, sub is what, sub is a child class. Okay, when we use inheritance, then it become child and parent class will come into picture. Okay, and here add is what, add is, okay, I'll write here, add is add is uh, it's a parent class, is a parent class. Yes, add is a parent class, and or it's also called as, or uh, base class, one and the same. Okay, base class, or it's also called as super class. Yes, and this is subclass, subclass, or sub is a child, sub is what, subtraction, this is not a subclass, sub is a subtraction method. Okay, subtraction class, sub is a child class, or it's also called as derived class. Okay, when we use base, we use derived class. Okay, derived class or subclass, one and the same. Yes, subclass. So it's all about inheritance. So now what we have done here, we have created the object of subclass, object of subclass. By creating the object of subclass, we can access, by means what, in general I'll say, by creating the instance of child class, we can access the member of super class, that is parent class. That is, we can access the member of parent class by creating the object of child class. We can access the member of uh, parent class. Okay, so how can we do that? We, by creating the object of child class, that's it. It's all about inheritance. Okay, so we have covered so many topic now. If I just remove this, what will happen? Okay, if I want to access this sum method, I cannot, even if I create the object of subclass, I cannot access the I cannot access sum method. Okay, first one. And also here num1 and num2 are the variables. Okay, and these two variables cannot be accessible inside this class. Okay, because data hiding, that is what we call it as data hiding. Means what, data hiding means what, um, uh, we cannot access the member of means what, variables of one class inside another class without inheritance. Okay, without inheritance. So uh, now what I had to do, now I had to use extends space add. Add is what, it's a parent class name, this is a class, this class name, right? So again you can use multiple inheritance. Multiple inheritance means what, hierarchy, multiple hierarchy. So if I'll take one more class now, class uh, say multiplication mult. Okay, it's a multi method, and again I'll use void multiplication mult. Yes, and then okay, class name, oh, sorry, I had to remove this bracket parenthesis because class name. So mult method here, so instead of mult, I'll use mul, okay, mul method. Okay, and then here I cannot access, again I cannot access, so I'll try to access num1 and num2. We'll see what will happen. Is equal to new uh okay, sorry, so num1 into num2. Yes, num1 into num2. And how to sys out final multiplication. Okay, is, yes, and plus here I'll try to print it now, result, res mul. Okay, oh, this is the variable. Yes, but I have not declared this result, it is my result mult. Okay, I'll declare it as int. But here we are getting error again, num1 and num2, because create a local variable num2 and num1 and num2, because why, we have not used inheritance. Again, if you want to use the same variables of what you have used for addition, then you have to use extends here. Extends, what is the name of that class? Add. Yes, add. Or okay, you can use add. Okay, you can extend it to add. or you can also use, instead of add, you can use sub also. This is also fine, because because this sub is a child class. Yes, which is inheriting the properties of, that is, which is inheriting the properties of, which is taking the properties, that is, properties means what, variables and methods of add class inside it. Yes, using extends keyword. So I'm using means what, in general, okay, in easiest way I'll tell. So we are using num1 and num2 variable, and we can access num1, num2 and some method inside subclass, because we have used extends keyword, right? And since we can access these members, or members of add class inside subclass, so I can also access the members of subclass, as well as add class inside multiplication class. Okay, instead of this you can use either add, or you can use sub also. But remember, if you use any other variables, for example, say int num3, I'll use num3 now, num3 variable. So num3 is what, it's a member of which class now, subclass. Yes, yes, we can now what will happen, okay, num3 is not used here, I'll use num3 also, minus num3. Yes, minus num3. So num3 is declared, and I'll just declare it, I'll declare it to, okay, uh, I'll define it, I'll just initialize it to 30. Okay, so now it is used, num3 is used, and here I'll try to, now I'll, instead of okay, I'll extend this to add now. Okay, I'll extend this to, mult add. Yes, mult add. So I cannot access, if you try to use, for example, into num3, I'll use num3 now. Yes, num3. I cannot access the member of subclass. What is that? Variable num3 inside multiplication class, because I cannot access num3 inside num3, because extends, this multiplication is extended to add class. It is not extended to subclass. So if you want to use this num3 variable of subclass inside multiplication class, then you have to what you have to extend it to subclass. Then this error will not be shown now. So num3, no errors now. Yes. So we'll try to execute it now. What is the result? Okay, I'll try to, I have not, because we are still getting 30 and minus 40, because here in this case the 10 plus 20 is 30 addition. For multiplication here, 10 minus 20 is minus 10, minus 10 plus minus 10 minus 30 is minus 40, so that is why we got minus 40 here. But multiplication we have not called, we have just defined it. This is what class definition. So this is class definition. Yes, and we have to call this, right? We have to call, and this is method definition. This is method definition. Yes, now we have defined this method, but we have not called it, right? How to call this now? So I can just create, by creating the object of mult class, I can access. Now what I will do, I'll just remove everything now. Okay, I'll remove everything, because obviously it's mult extends to sub, right? Sub extends add class. So now I'll just create the object of mult class. Mult is equal to mult is equal to obj is equal to new mult, right? And then semicolon. Okay, obj. Okay, single obj multiplication I'll use mult. Yes. So obj mult, using this obj mult dot, I can access the what is that? Which method? What are the methods? Some method is there. Is that some method? Yes, some method. I can access some method. Yes, obj, again obj mult dot, I can access diff method. Yes, and then obj dot, obj mult dot, I can also access what, which method? What is the method name? Mult method. Yes, mult method. Mult method, right? So you, by creating the object of mult class, I can able to access uh, diff diff method, sum method, as well as mul method, right? So now we will execute it now. So first one is what? Final sum is 30, final difference is minus 40, final multiplication is 6,000, right? So because 10 into 20 into 30, that is 6,000. Yes, it's all about variables, variables, methods. Yes, and class, variable, method, class. Variable means what? Data. Method means what? Functions, right? Method or functions, one and the same, are put together. And then the concept of class is similar to the concept of structure in C. A class is declared by using the keyword class. The general form of class is this is the syntax. You can just go through it. And then data field declaration. The data lies within the class and the data fields are accessed by the methods of that class. Yes, the data fields are also called as instance variable or member variables because they are created when the object get instantiated. Means what? By when we create the object of the class, we can access the member of that particular means what, a class, right? So that is why we call it as instance variable, because see, it's called as instance variable because to access these variables, these num1 and num2 variable, we have to create the object, right? That's what we have done here. We have to create the object, then only we can access. That's why we call it as instance variable, because they are created when the object get instantiated. When we create the object, then only we can access these variable. That's why we call it as instance variable. Okay. And what is class? Class is an instance of a class, please remember. Okay. And then in object oriented programming, any two objects communicate with each other using methods. Yes, and all methods have the same general form as the method main. Most of the methods are classified as either static or public. Java classes do not need the method main, but if you want to particular class as a string, as a starting point of your program, then the main method is included in that class. That's what so obviously execution starts from main method. That is the meaning. Yes, most of the methods are classified as either static or public. Yes, next. And the type specifies the type of data returned from the method, and the method, if the method does not return anything, then it's a data type must be void. Okay, if it does not, because here if you can see here, void is what? It's a data type, right? It does not return any value, so it's obviously uh, it should be declared as void because we are not using any return keyword here. If I use return keyword, then I had to use int or something, int or double, like that. Okay, depending on the data type. So that is the meaning. And for returning the data from the method, is keyword return is used. That's what keyword return is used. Then and then so this is the syntax, general form of method. Yes. And then and also here parameter list is used. We'll see it later. And we can also pass parameter. We'll discuss it in constructor. And declaring objects. An object is an instance of a class. That's what here we have created the object, right? Created the object. So this is the object. This object is an instance of means what, to instance or copy or instance, one and the same, copy of multi class, instance of a class. And hence a block of memory gets allocated for this instance variables. Means what, since we are creating the object, obviously what will happen, these whatever the variables we have here, num1 and num2 will come under this particular object of obj multiplication, right? Num1, num2, num3 will come under these num1, num2 and num3 are the instance variable that come under obj mult. Okay, so that is why instance variable. So we had to store these num1, num2, num3 in a memory, right? So to store it in memory, we had to use new keyword. Okay, we are creating the we are using this new operator. We can what is that, we can allocate memory for instance variables. Okay, for creating the object in Java, the operator new is used. And so this is the syntax. Yes, test obj class name and space object name semicolon, and here declaration of object. And here again object name is equal to new operator to allocate memory to store instance variables, that is num1, num2 and num3. Space class name, instance or copy of test class is equal to object of test class. Means what, object is an instance or copy of a class. Okay, so to combine these two, just a declaration, and here we are creating the object. So to combine these two, when we combine these two, we'll get this test class namespace object name is equal to, it's a user defined name. It's whatever is there in the red color, it's a user defined name, is equal to its operator new is equal assignment operator and new operator space test and parenthesis semicolon. And here graphical representation. Test is a class, and object is what everything comes under object. Whatever the variables, everything comes under object. Okay. And here we have see here in this case we have created only one object, right? Obj. So that is by only one object here. Okay. But this class has two objects, obj1 and obj2. Okay. So if we use any variable here, you can what is that is if I say num1 num2 num3, I have three variables in test class. Okay. And these num1 num2 and num3, in these objects we can give different values to those num1 num2 and num3 by using these objects. Okay. Okay, for example, num1 is the variable of test class. So here in this obj1 I can define it, I can define num1 as 10, and in obj2 I can define num1 as 20. That is how it works. If I have 100 objects, obj1 obj2 obj3 up to 100 objects, means what, that num1 I have only num1 variable in this test class, then I can use a different value, I can give different value to that num1 variable which is inside test class. Okay, so that is the advantage of object here. So this test class name space object name. Here we have just declared obj to both the objects, and here we are just creating the instance of or copy of uh, which class, test class. Here that's it, object. We are creating the object in general. And then accessing variables and methods. There are two types of class members: the data members and the method. Yes. So what are these data members? These are the members, right? So class. Yes, there are two types of class members, data members. What are the data? Num1 and num2. And what are the method? Sum1 is the method of add class. And these members can be accessed using dot operator. How do we access this? Using dot operator. Here it is, dot operator. Yes. And then um, it's all about what it's all about variables, methods, and variables, methods, classes, and also we have discussed about creating the object and also inheritance, right? Hope you have understood. Will if you have any doubts, please comment below, and please like, share, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching.